In this video, I want to go over the 3 most popular types of simplifying complex fractions that you can expect to see on your homework, on your test, or even in your teacher's lesson. And the cool thing about these 3 problems is there is a common element between all of them. And guess what that common element is? It's going to be the common denominator. Now, you might say, oh, I know what the common denominator is, or you might be like, this is confusing. But don't worry, in each of these examples, I am going to show you in different ways how we can identify as well as use the common denominator to help simplify our complex fraction. So let's get into it because these problems are going to show up on a test, on a quiz, and you need to know how to be able to simplify them with ease. So in this first example, you can see I have 2 rational expressions being added in our numerator, and then I have another rational expression here simply in the denominator. Now, the one thing that sticks out to me is in the denominator, I have these 2 binomial expressions, and in the denominator here, I have a trinomial. Now, immediately I tell my students when I am teaching complex fractions that ding, 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 like that should immediately bring your attention to, I need to factor this. Now, more often than not, okay, it's not all the time and it's not guaranteed, but more often than not, this fraction is a product of these 2 other denominators, okay? So just keep that in the back of your mind, but you also want to make sure you validate it. How are we going to validate it? We're going to factor this expression. I want to see what 2 numbers multiplied give me a positive 4, but add give me negative 5. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it is indeed the product of my other 2 denominators. Now that's very, very important, okay? So I am going to strike through this denominator and I'm just going to kind of represent my complex fraction, and these are my denominators. Now, when simplifying complex fractions, what I want to do is get rid of my denominators. You can see I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, or sorry, this is my 4th denominator. Way too many denominators, all right? We want to get rid of our denominators. To get rid of our denominators, we need to find something that our denominators are going to evenly divide into. Now, it gets a little bit more difficult with polynomials, but understand a polynomial is going to divide into itself, right? So my LCD, in this case, which is my least common denominator, is simply going to be the product of x minus 1 times an x minus 4, right? Because this divides into that, x minus 1 divides in that, x minus 4 divides in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to multiply every single expression multiplied by my LCD. So I'm just going to write it like this, x minus 1 times x minus 4. All right, but I'm going to multiply this times this expression, multiply it by this expression, as well as multiply it by this denominator. Now, when I do that, to simplify a little bit of space, actually, you know what, for this first one, let's go ahead and write it out. So what I'll have here is a 2 over x minus 1, and then we're going to have x minus 1 times a x minus 4. And that's going to be plus, and then I'll have a 3 over x minus 4, and then again, x minus 1 times x minus 4. And then my big denominator here, I have 6. Again, I'm going to write it in its expanded form, x minus 1 times x minus 4, and then again, multiply it there, okay? So this is really important. You got to make sure whatever you do in the numerator, you do in the denominator, right? That's going to produce an equivalent fraction. But also you got to remember if you have terms or expressions, if you have expressions separated by addition or subtraction, you have to distribute that, right? We're playing the distributive property across here. So now let's just go ahead and simplify things. So in this case, you can see my x minus 1s are going to divide out or divide to 1, all right? Over here, my x minus 4s are going to divide out, and here, everything is going to divide out. Here's the thing I want you to pay attention to, guys. By multiplying everything by my LCD, notice what happened to all my denominators. Bye-bye, they went away. Now I still have this one big denominator, and that's okay. We'll try to see if we can simplify this. But at this point, right now, we have eliminated that denominator, eliminated these little denominators. So now let's see what we have here. I have distributive property, right? So I have to simplify that, and I have to multiply this one. And then over here, I'm just gonna have a 6. So when multiplying this, I get a 2x minus 8, and this is a positive 3, so plus a 3x minus 3, and that's going to be all over a 6. Now I can combine like terms, right? Variables with variables and numbers with numbers. Now again, when you're adding or combining variables, remember you're just going to combine the coefficients. So 2x plus 3x is going to be a 5x. Negative 8 minus 3 is going to be a negative 11, and that's divided by 6. Now again, depending on the instruction, depending on what your teacher is asking for, we can also talk about the restricted values. Those would be the values from the original equation as well as to your final equation that will make the denominator equal to 0. Now, there's no values that are going to make my denominator equal to 0 for my final result. But if I look back at the original problem, I recognize I cannot have my denominator equal to 1. I cannot have it equal to 4. And 1 and 4 would not work over here as well. So what I'll do is say, oops, why did I write it like that? I'll put let me actually erase that. And I'll write this as x cannot equal a positive 1 and a positive 4. Those are what we call our excluded values. Okay, so simplistic one, very common. If you see two binomials and then you see a trinomial as your third denominator, look for that to be your common denominator, that trinomial in factored form. But it's not always the case, so make sure you check yourself, okay? All right, let's go and take a look at another one. In this case, I have an x squared divided by x squared minus 25 divided by 8x over 8x minus 5. Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, I see a binomial in this denominator, but here it's a quadratic. It's not a trinomial, but it is a quadratic. And I immediately recognize I can simplify this, right? I can rewrite that as an x minus 5 times a x plus 5. Now, in this case, they don't share, right? Because there's not a third denominator here. I have a fraction simply being divided by another fraction. But that brings up something else to me. When I have a fraction divided by a fraction, right, like this, or divided by a fraction, what does that tell us? When we have a fraction divided by a fraction, we can simply rewrite that as a product of the reciprocal, okay? So if I have this fraction right here, and that is being divided by this fraction, so again, I can rewrite it like this. X squared divided by ax minus 5 times x plus 5, that's being divided by a x over x minus 5, I'm sorry, an x over, that's being divided by a x minus 5, I can simply go ahead and rewrite this as the product. So I can rewrite this as an x squared all over x minus 5 times an x plus 5, and I'm going to multiply that by a x minus 5 all over an x, okay? Now we could do the LCD in this case as well, which the LCD would be an x minus 5 times x plus 5, but I like understanding this when you have a fraction divided by another fraction, because writing it into this form is really not that bad. Now, remember though, when I have an x squared, that is equivalent to an x times x. Sometimes students get that confused, and even when I'm doing like my dividing out the terms, I'll cross out the squared in the numerator, but students still get kind of confused with that. So for the purpose of this instruction on the video, I'm rewriting x squared as x times x. The reason why this is important is because in my numerator, I have x times a x minus 5, right? They're multiplied by each other over there. Since I'm multiplying this expression, we're multiplying in our numerator and we're multiplying in our denominator. That's important because when you have terms that are separated by multiplication and they're exactly the same in the numerator as well as the denominator, the division property is applied. What that means is they will divide out to 1. Over here, again, these expressions are separated by multiplication. So my x minus 5s are going to simply divide out, leaving me with a final answer here of only 1x divided by an x plus 5. Now again, in this case, we can see that x cannot equal a negative 5. That's going to make my final result undefined, right? But again, we just can't find our restrictions at the end, right? And that's a very common thing that will happen on a test, especially like a multiple choice. That will be an answer choice. This, you'll do all the work correctly, but they'll have the one restriction as our simplified result. Don't take the bait, okay? We have to remember, we also have to look at our restrictions from our original equation. And if you look, not only does 5 make our denominator equal to 0 of this denominator, but also a negative 5. So that is also going to be a restricted value. So not only is this a simplified result, but x cannot equal negative 5, as well as x cannot equal a positive 5, okay? So it's very, very important. And again, that's why I'm covering these problems, guys, because these are the ones that are the most common that you're not gonna see, right? They're not the easiest, they're not the most difficult, but these are the most common that you are going to see on a test, a quiz, in your homework and everything else. That's why I wanted to cover them. So let's go over another example over here. And this one's gonna have 4 denominator or 4 expressions. I love that. And okay. So again, we recognize here this quadratic. And again, the whole idea, guys, to get rid of all these denominators, I want to be able to divide them into something. Now, more often than not, when you have a quadratic, that is going to be a product of your other denominators, okay? Not always the case, but more often than not. And again, when I look at this and I go to simplify it, I say, hey, yeah, I can simplify that to x minus 2 times x plus 2. This is easy because now this tells me exactly what my LCD is, right? Because I know my LCD has to include a x minus 2 times an x plus 2, right? Because a polynomial has to be able to divide into itself. But then also my other denominators all divide into that. So we're good. Now all I simply need to do is multiply every single expression times a x minus 2 times an x plus 2. Now I'll save my, oops, I ran out of room here. I didn't run out of room. Yeah, okay. So let's multiply it over here. So I'll do a x minus 2 times an x plus 2. Okay? So we're multiply here, 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 and there. Okay, now to save myself a little bit of work, I'm just going to not rewrite the whole expression again. Let's just kind of, hopefully you guys can follow me. When I multiply this expression times over here, the x minus 2's will divide out. That's going to leave me with a 3 times an x plus 2. Over here, my x minus 2 and my x plus 2's divide out, so that's just going to leave me with a negative 6. Over here, my x plus 2's divide out, so that'll leave me with a 3 times an x minus 2. And then over here, my x minus 2 will divide out. That's going to leave me with a 1 times a x plus 2. Now, again, you don't really need to include the 1, but I'll just do it for some accounting purposes, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, the cool thing about, complex fractions is true with, factoring quadratics, is true with fractions. Just the more practice you get of going through these motions, the easier it is to not only identify patterns, but to be able to work with them without making mistakes. Okay. So I know sometimes it takes a little bit slow of, getting through, understanding the motions, understanding what you're looking for, but I'm covering 3 problems in this video. I have multiple examples of me working through problems, as well as ones that you can practice on your own. That is how you're going to get better at this process. Okay. So if you need more practice with simplifying complex fractions, check out those resources in this description. Now we just need to apply our good old distributive property here. So I'll take the 3 times the x, 3 times the 2, 3 times x, 3 times negative 2, and then x plus 2, we'll just leave it as that, right? Okay. So now what I'm going to have is a 3x plus 6 minus 6, and a 3x minus 6 plus 8x plus 2. Combine our like terms, that's going to go to 0. So I'm left with a 3x. And then over here, that's going to become a negative 4. That's going to become a positive 4x. So I have a 4x minus 4. Okay, now again, some students will make the mistakes. They'll divide out these x's, right? They see an x in the numerator and denominator and divide them out. But again, when I talked about the division property, that only works when you have your terms separated by multiplication. These terms here are not separated by multiplication, so you cannot apply the division property. So this is going to be our simplified result. You could, if you wanted to, or if it was on a multiple choice test or your teacher was saying like they want everything in factored form, you could also write it in that form as well. The important thing here, though, is I do want to tackle what x cannot equal. We recognize x cannot equal at 1. A good common thing sometimes they'll put like x equals 4 as a restriction. No, 4 does not make the denominator 0. It's in the denominator, but it does not make the denominator 0. The only value that makes the denominator 0 is the number 1. But again, this is important. We cannot forget our original problem. What were the other values that made our denominator equal 0? Negative 2 and positive 2, right? It shows up in all of these. So we also have to restrict not only our simplified result. Why am I writing it like that? We can not only take in our simplified result at the end, but we also have to include, so x cannot include a positive 1, a negative 2, and a positive 2. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are your most popular simplifying complex fractions that you absolutely need to know. If you want to see some challenging ones, then check out the next video I have for you here. Or if you just need some more practice, go and check out my description or check out the video where I have for starting here for simplifying complex fractions. That'll give you a good review as well. Cheers.